Born in February of 1956 in Michigan, Aileen Wuornos was brought into a life fueled by hatred, desolation and sexual abuse from the very beginning. As a child, the young Wuornos experienced horrifying turmoil throughout her childhood, starting with the death of her father, who committed suicide while serving time in prison for child molestation. A few months later, she was abandoned by her mother, leaving Aileen and her older brother to be raised by their alcoholic grandparents. According to Wuornos, she was subjected to violence and abuse on a routine basis. She claimed that she was taunted by boys in the neighborhood that would spit on her and assault her with rocks. Wuornos also said that she had sexual relations with her brother and was continually raped by her grandfather. By the age of 13, she gave birth to her first child, although the infant was given up for adoption upon delivery. Wuornos was eventually forced out of her home when the old couple grew tired of dealing with her. She took shelter in the nearby woods, where she lived for several months. Having previously been a ward of the state, Wuornos existed as a vagabond, hitchhiking and engaging in prostitution to survive. She was arrested during the mid-1970s for assault and disorderly conduct, until eventually settling in Florida, where she met a wealthy yachtsman. The two were married in 1976, but were soon divorced when Aileen was arrested for solicitation. Several years later, having been involved in numerous additional crimes, Wuornos met a young girl named Tyra Moore, and the two quickly fell in love. It was later revealed that from late 1989 into the fall of 1990, Wuornos had murdered at least 6 men along various highways she used for prostitution. In mid-December of 1989, police found the remains of a man filled with multiple bullet wounds hidden in a junkyard, with 5 more bodies to be discovered over the following months. Authorities were eventually able to track Wuornos despite her various aliases, using fingerprints and palm prints left in the crashed vehicle of one of her previous killings. Wuornos was arrested in a bar in Port Orange, Florida, while police located Tyra Moore in Pennsylvania. To avoid going to prison, Moore made a deal with prosecutors, and in mid-January of 1991 she elicited a full confession from Aileen, who took sole responsibility for the murders. Due to the disturbing nature of the crimes, Aileen quickly became the center point of the public media. Television and film producers began expressing interest, while various publications were desperate for inside information. During the trial, Wuornos asserted that she had been raped and assaulted by her known victims, although she would later retract these statements during a video confessional with police.
And so when you met them, from the beginning, did you know that you were going to kill them? When they picked you up in their cars?
I pretty much had them selected that they were going to die.
But when you're saying that there was no self-defense, so there was no self-defense?
No, there was no self-defense. To me, this world is nothing but evil, and all of us are full of evil one way or another. In whatever we do, we have evil in us, all of us do. And my evil would just happen to come out because of the circumstances of what I was doing. And this is the last time I'm going to say it. You have to kill Aileen Wuornos because she'll kill again.
On January the 27th of 1992, a jury found Wuornos guilty of first-degree murder, and she received the death penalty. Over the ensuing months, Wuornos would plead guilty to the murders of the 5 other men she was charged with, and received a death sentence for each plea. Outside of court, she later admitted to the killing of another man whose body was never recovered. Spending a decade on death row, Wuornos eventually opted to fire her appeal lawyers, who were working for a stay of execution. But a court-appointed attorney was concerned about comments made by Wuornos that suggested she was profoundly disconnected from reality. In 2002, Florida Governor Jeb Bush lifted a temporary stay of execution after 3 psychiatrists deemed her mentally competent to understand the death penalty and the reasons for its implementation. Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection on the morning of October 9, 2002.